If you own one of these, the beautiful and oh-so-popular Madagascar dragon tree or Dracaena marginata, then I'm willing to bet you've stared at this exact problem. You know what I'm talking about. Those frustrating, crunchy brown tips on the leaves that just keep appearing. Well, guess what? Today, we're going to solve that mystery for good.
So let's just get right into it. You've probably asked this question a million times. You've heard it's underwatering, or maybe overwatering, or not enough humidity. You've tried everything, right? And yet, those brown tips just keep coming back. That's because the real reason, well, it's something most of us never even think to consider.
To get to the bottom of this, we really have to approach it like a detective story. First things first, we need to investigate and rule out all the common culprits everyone points to, because in this specific case, the usual suspects, they're totally innocent.
Okay, think of this table as our little forensics lab. Let's look at the evidence. See here, under fluoride toxicity, the leaf stays firm and green right up to the brown part, and the damage happens slowly over months. Now, compare that to underwatering, the whole leaf gets kind of droopy and pale, and it's definitely not like fertilizer burn, which pops up all of a sudden and usually has these yellow halos around the brown spots. Your plant is giving you very specific clues. We just have to learn its language.
So, if it's not the usual stuff, what's going on? Well, the most important clue isn't in the soil and it's not in the air. It's actually inside the plant itself. It all comes down to a one-way highway that runs from the roots all the way to the very, very tips of the leaves.
This system is called the transpiration stream. I want you to picture a super efficient delivery service. Water, and everything dissolved in it, gets pulled up from the roots and sent straight to the end of the leaf. But here's the absolute key. It is a one-way street, and there are no off-ramps. None.
And you can see how it works right here. The roots suck up water and whatever's in it, the whole mix travels up this internal highway, and the good stuff, the nutrients, get delivered along the way. But here's the problem. Anything the plant can't use has absolutely nowhere to go. It gets pushed all the way to the end of the line, the tip of the leaf, and it gets stuck. It creates essentially a toxic traffic jam.
So, you see, the issue isn't a lack of something good, like water. It's the slow, steady delivery of something bad, an invisible poison that's being chauffeured directly to the leaf tips by the plant's own delivery system.
This right here is the key to the whole mystery. That brown tip doesn't just happen overnight. It's a slow burn. Every single time you water, a microscopic amount of this toxin travels to the tip and just gets left there. And over weeks, over months, that concentration builds and builds until it finally hits a lethal dose and it starts to kill the cells.
And that culprit is fluoride. That's it. This particular plant, the Dracaena marginata, is just extremely sensitive to this one chemical, a chemical that, as it turns out, is pretty common all around us. So what is fluoride actually doing? To put it simply, it gets into the plant cells at the leaf tip and basically just shuts down their little energy factories. It starves them from the inside out. The cells can't power themselves, so they collapse and they die. And that dead, collapsed tissue is the brown tip that you see. All right, so we've identified our killer. Now, the next logical step in our little investigation is to figure out where on Earth it's coming from. And you might be surprised to find out it's hiding in some very common places.
And you know, it doesn't take much to cause this kind of damage. We're talking about a concentration as low as 1 part per million. Now, to put that into perspective for you, a lot of cities intentionally add fluoride to tap water at a level of about 0.7 to 1.0 ppm, which is great for our teeth, but as we're finding out, not so great for our dragon trees.
So where is this stuff coming from? Well, there are 3 main suspects. First, and this is the big one, is your regular old tap water. And listen, this is critical. Unlike chlorine, fluoride does not evaporate, so letting your water sit out for 24 hours isn't going to do a thing. Second, some fertilizers, especially high-phosphate ones, can have fluoride as an impurity. And third, this one is a shocker for many, perlite. Yep, those little white rocks in your potting mix can actually lead small amounts of fluoride over time. But here's the good news. Now that we've totally cracked the case, we can put together a really clear, simple rescue plan. You can absolutely stop the brown tips from forming and bring your plant back to health. All right, the single most important change you can possibly make, the one thing that will have the biggest impact starting right now, is to switch your water source. It's time to stop using tap water for this specific plant. Rainwater, distilled water, or water from a reverse osmosis filter are all fantastic fluoride-free options that will stop the damage dead in its tracks. Okay, next up, we have to get rid of the fluoride that's already built up in the soil. We do this by leaching it out. It's super simple.
Just take your plant to a sink or a bathtub and slowly pour a whole bunch of your new, clean water through the pot. The idea is to just dissolve and wash away all those built-up toxins. Then, just let it drain completely.
Now for a couple of pro tips for long-term health. First, if you can, try to keep your soil slightly acidic. A pH between 6.0 and 6.5 actually makes any fluoride that's left in there harder for the plant to absorb. And second, when you trim off those brown tips, and this is a great little trick, don't cut into the healthy green part. Follow the leaf's natural pointy shape, but leave a teeny, tiny, paper-thin sliver of brown at the edge. This creates a seal and stops the new, fresh cut from just drying out and turning brown all over again.
So, in the end, those brown tips were never a sign that you were a bad plant parent. Not at all. They were a signal, a message from a living sensor in your home telling you about a chemical in its environment that it just couldn't handle. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What else are the living things around us trying to tell us about our world?